With a stroke of my pen on day one, we're going to stop the transgender lunacy.
You know, as a trans person, I support this message. I support this, period. But I want you to pay attention to these key words, because that's all I'm looking for in this.
And I will sign executive orders to end child sexual mutilation.
What he means by child sexual mutilation is like giving kids puberty blockers, which is essentially sterilizing them. It grants them hormonal imbalances, which personally for me, let me be honest with something. I've been detransitioning, not by choice, but for this whole year. I'm gonna make a separate video about what it is and what it feels like to detransition, because it's not ideal. Luckily for me, I'm going to be going back on hormones very, very soon, but oh my God. And if this is what these kids are gonna have to go through,
Get transgender out of the military and out of our elementary schools and middle schools and high school.
My friend who's in the military did enlighten me on the fact that if you're on the spectrum of autism, you're not allowed to actually serve because you're not mentally fully stable to, you know, fight in a war, or, you know what I mean? I feel like the same concept can be applied to transgenderism or transgender ideology because of the gender dysphoria aspect. And then also being on a different hormone in terms of what your body normally produces in excess or dominantly. Yeah, makes sense. I mean, this is logical. Unless you're like a receptionist or something. I guess keep those in those positions. But like, you know, do you really want to be in the military like that anyways? Like, I don't know. Pay for all their GI bills. Don't like discharge them dishonorably or whatever. Like medically discharge them, you know, properly or whatever.
And we will keep men out of women's sports.
I'm sorry, not sorry, but when I saw the Olympics and those poor women getting beat up by grown men that are not even on hormones, like they're on testosterone blockers or spironolactone and claiming that they're trans, like that's, gotta go out.
That will likewise be done on day one. Should I do day one, day two, or day three?
My only concern is really the mental health and sort of stability of people in general, and having to unwrite, reprogram their children in a sense of kind of something that they've just been fed for like the past 4 years. It's not easy, and it won't be, in my opinion. So my thoughts and prayers, I mean, the best that I can give, I suppose, goes out to those families and kids that have to, you know, go through that. I understand it. Now I understand it. I never really understood detransitioning until I kind of was forced to, again, not by choice, but it was more or less because I moved and I was changing doctors. But long story short, that's pretty much it. It took me a while to find a new primary care provider, which I finally did a year later. But I just took it as an opportunity to actually kind of understand what it meant to detransition. And it's again, it's not for the weak. And do I believe in the existence of trans children? Yes, but very far few in between, again, are actually self-aware enough to make that kind of decision about themselves. That isn't like coerced or sort of manipulated by society or teachers, their peers, whatever. So while I do know it's a real thing, it's just not as the trendiness it became to be like it has been the last 4 years or whatever. And mind you, I've been transitioning for nearly a decade, so like I kind of, you know a thing or two, I guess, maybe. But really my only main concern is like kind of the aftermath and sort of damage that has already been caused to our, you know, youth and stuff like that. My hair is too oily. I'm not gonna even straighten it right now. I don't know. I just don't think that kids should be learning about sex on such an early sense, unless, you know, there was some trauma involved that kind of forced the actual need to teach the birds and the bees a little bit earlier, like I did, or like it was for me.
Day one, right?